Hey, Overcomers, I'm Dara Marie. I'm your favorite mindset teacher, and this is Be an Overcomer, where you are inspired and empowered to walk by faith and use the gift of imagination to create the life you desire. So, Overcomers, today's message is Isn't It Wonderful? And the Law of Assumption. So, I want to read to you from my book, an excerpt from my latest book, Faith and Imagination Keys to Effortless Living. This book is available on Amazon as well as my website, DaraMarieProductions.com. And I wrote, our imagination is necessary to see past the limitations of the natural realm we live. When you focus only on what you know, you will notice lack, limitations, and things that do not seem possible. But when you tap into your imagination, you open your mind to a world of possibilities. Imagination creates reality. This is why the Bible says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And that's from Proverbs 23:7. Whatever we think, we become. Our thoughts are more powerful than people realize. Our imagination is like the movie screen of our mind. God gave us an imagination so that we can create the life we desire. Our imagination is a tool given to us by God. God wants us to live our best life, and that's from 3 John 2. If you can see it in your mind, it is only a matter of time before it shows up in your outer world. And I just want to go back and reread a sentence here. When you focus only on what you know, you will notice lack, limitations, and things that do not seem possible. But when you tap into your imagination, you open your mind to a world of possibilities. And this is why, Overcomers, I'm always telling you to tap in, block out the outside world, go within your imagination. We walk by faith and not by sight. That's basically what that is. It's basically not allowing what you see in this outside world to stop you or hinder you from what you're believing. That thing that you're believing for, that thing that you're faithing for, that thing that your vision is about. We're at the beginning of the year. A lot of people have journaled out what they want, what their goals are for the year. A lot of people have vision boards, things that they want to see manifested in their life, things that they're believing for. In order for those things to come about, you have to use your imagination, because our imagination, it literally creates reality. Our thoughts, they truly become things. We know in the beginning of the word, it says, God, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was of God, and by Him and through Him all things were made, right? We know that things were made by God, and He thought it, He spoke it, and then He saw what He said. And because we're made in His image, we're His creation, we can bring things forth. We can call those things that be not as though they are, and then it will show up. But we have to use our faith. So basically, this message is, isn't it wonderful? And basically, it's based on a technique that in one of Neville Goddard's lectures, he spoke about, isn't it wonderful? And there was a woman there, and I'm going to read her story. And she was going through several things in her life. She had several circumstances that seemed so insurmountable. It seemed like it wouldn't change. And she applied this technique. And lo and behold, after about 2 months or so, things started to turn around for her. And she had such a great testimony. I'm sorry, I just need to drink some water. And so I just want to encourage, I don't know why, today, the Lord was like, share this testimony. Isn't it wonderful? Talk about Neville Goddard and this testimony, because while it's a new year, and a lot of people have a lot of goals, and there's a lot of excitement about this new year, some people are facing certain circumstances. And if you find yourself in a place where you're going through something right now and you feel discouraged, I'm here to encourage you. I hope through this message you feel inspired to actually walk by faith and use your imagination and apply this technique and start to visualize your life. It doesn't matter where you are right now, it's where you're headed, okay? And God has a great plan for you. One of my favorite scriptures, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. So in this testimony, it says, we live in an age which believes in neither fable nor magic. And yet everything I could possibly want in my wildest daydreams was given to me by the simple use of what you teach, that imagining creates reality. And that feeling is the secret of imagining. At the time, this wonderful thing happened to me. I was out of a job and had no family to fall back upon for support. I needed just about everything. To find a decent job, I needed a car to look for, and though I had a car, it was so worn out, it was ready to fall apart. I was behind in my rent. I had no proper clothes to seek a job, and today it's no fun for a woman of 55 to apply for a job of any kind. My bank account was almost depleted, and there was no friend to whom I could turn. I also wanted to point out her age, because a couple of people have shared with me like, oh, they're a certain age, and at this age or that age that they're in, is it going to really happen for them? They have certain dreams, they have certain goals. This woman in this testimony, in this story, she was 55. Okay, 55. Then she continues, but I had been attending your lectures, she's talking about Neville Goddard, for almost a year, and my desperation forced me to put my imagination to the test. Indeed, I had nothing to lose. It was natural for me, I suppose, to begin by imagining myself having everything I needed. But I needed so many things, and in such short order that I found myself exhausted when I finally got through the list. You know how we talk about the list, like the affirmation list or the list of things to affirm for. And by that time, I was so nervous I could not sleep. One lecture night, I heard you tell of an artist who captured the feeling or word, as you called it, of "Isn't it wonderful?" in his personal experience. I began to apply this idea to my case. Instead of thinking of and imagining every article I needed, I tried to capture the feeling that something wonderful was happening to me, not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. I would say over and over to myself as I fell asleep, "Isn't it wonderful? Something marvelous is happening to me now." And as I fell asleep, I would feel the way I would expect to feel under such circumstances. I repeated that imaginary action and feeling for 2 months, night after night, and one day in early October, I met a casual friend I hadn't seen for months who informed me he was about to leave on a trip to New York. I had lived in New York many years ago, and we talked of the city a few moments and then parted. I completely forgot the incident. 1 month later, to the day, this man called at my apartment and simply handed me a certified check in my name for $2,500. After I got over the initial shock of seeing my name on a check for so much money, the story that unfolded seemed to me like a dream. It concerned a friend I had not seen nor heard from in more than 25 years. This friend of my past, I now learned, had become extremely wealthy in those 25 years. Our mutual acquaintance, who had brought the check to me, had met him quite by accident during the trip to New York last month. During their conversation, they spoke of me, and for reasons I was not to know, for to this day I have not heard from him personally and have never attempted to contact him. This old friend decided to share a portion of his great wealth with me. For the next 2 years, from the office of his attorney, I received monthly checks, so generous in amount they not only covered every necessary requirement of daily living, but left much over for all the lovely things of life: a car, clothes, a spacious apartment, and best of all, no need to earn my daily bread. This past month, I received a letter and some legal papers to be signed, which provide the continuation of this monthly income for the rest of my natural life. Okay, like, so she basically put Neville Goddard's technique to use. Isn't it wonderful? And night after night, as she fell asleep, she would just say to herself, isn't it wonderful? Something marvelous is happening to me. Isn't it wonderful? Something marvelous is happening to me. And lo and behold, a bridge of events, because that's what Neville Goddard talks about. It's like a set of circumstances unfolded for her to get her manifestation. And she was just believing for like certain things in her life to be taken care of. Her testimony was so great that it said that the money from this person, okay, this philanthropist, ended up blessing her for the rest of her natural life. So it was above and beyond. You know how the Bible talks about that overflow, right? Those blessings, okay? That shaken down, pressed down, and running over, okay? That overflow, okay? That abundance. That's what she experienced. And it was based off of Neville Goddard's technique, Isn't It Wonderful? And that's from the book, The Law and the Promise by Neville Goddard. So I just want to share a couple of keys with you based off of this story, okay, and also off of my book, what I read. The first key is use your mind daily to visualize, okay? You have to get a hold of your thoughts, okay? Because I'm telling you, if you don't get a hold of your own thoughts, the world is going to. And remember, Florence Scovel Shinn said, if you do not run your subconscious mind, someone else will run it for you. And there are a lot of people. I could tell within the first few minutes of speaking to somebody who's running their mind, especially if they're quick to talk about things that are happening and, oh, it's so scary and this and that. And like, you know, those of us that are conscious creators and truly understand that we are made in the image of God, we are God's ambassadors in this earth, okay? That we can create our lives. It doesn't matter where you are right now. That woman, right, in her testimony, it wasn't like a woman who was in her 20s. She was 55. And obviously it said like she was still working, okay? She was still working and still things weren't like she wasn't still able to meet her needs and make ends meet and whatever she needed. And lo and behold, she just started to apply that technique. And then certain circumstances unfolded for her to get her manifestation. And then she got blessed above and beyond for the rest of her natural life. That's what it says. That's the kind of God we serve. Overflow and blessings, okay? So I hope that testimony encouraged you, okay? I know that's for somebody, so I hope it encouraged you. The second key is to use the SATS technique, and that's basically the state akin to sleep. That state, that is your drowsy state. That's the state when you're about to fall asleep, when you're about to drift off to sleep and you're like somewhat awake, but you're starting to doze off. That's the time to impress your subconscious mind. As we know, your subconscious mind, it's ready to take you at your word. That time right before sleep is very crucial. And sidebar, I want to tell you, turn off the news. Some of you have the news playing in the background when you're falling asleep. All of that stuff is going into your mind. And then you wonder why you're having restless nights. You wonder why your sleep is disturbed. It's because that's what's going in your subconscious. Also, certain other genres like horror, other things that might like be negative or cause you to feel a certain way, to cause you to feel fearful, all of that stuff goes into your mind. So just be aware of the things you're listening to or the things you're watching or things that you're reading before you go to sleep. So I would encourage you, like before sleep, if it's not journaling time, if it's not reading like an inspirational book or listening to an inspirational message or just speaking your affirmations, that's something that you could do that will help you. Praying, of course, all powerful things, okay? The third key, realize your desires are yours. You don't have that desire by accident. You don't have that vision by accident. You don't have that dream. It was given to you by God because you're supposed to have it. So just realize that it is for you. Just keep persisting in that assumption and it will show up. The fourth key, As I said, and it leads into this, persist in the assumption. Don't let up until it shows up. Okay, we must persist in the things that we want. And the fifth key is to believe. Okay, we walk by faith and not by sight. All things are possible to people that believe, to whoever believes. Okay, it's your faith that causes things to manifest and show up in this outside world. It's your faith that causes things to shift. Like the story with that testimony, that story of the woman. Basically, she decided, you know what? She had nothing to lose. I'm going to put my imagination to the test. I'm going to just believe this thing by faith. I'm going to start declaring, isn't it wonderful? And remember, your words have creative power. And your subconscious mind, it knows what is wonderful for you. It knows what you desire, okay? So the key is to stay persistent, to believe, and just watch it show up. Just watch. I'm telling you, try it. I want you to try that today, okay? That's something I want to encourage you to do. So before bed, journal, write, okay? If you're a person that, like I said, likes to listen to things that are negative, you may not even realize it. But I'm telling you, your subconscious mind, it takes in all this information from the outside world. So be sure to give it, to feed your mind the things that you want to see reproduced in your world, okay? The things that you want to see show up in your life. So I hope this blessed you today. I hope you feel encouraged. I hope you feel inspired. I love my overcomers. I'm so thankful for this community. I'm thankful for everyone here. So I just want you to always walk by faith, not by sight, and put it to the test. Try it today. Try it today. Try it over the next few days, and just jot back in the comments. Let me know how it worked for you. I hope it encouraged you today. Please share this message. Get others to join our community. Thank you so much. Always be an overcomer.